You're watching TVC Breakfast. Now, on Sunday, INEC declared the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Usman Ododo, the winner of the November the 11th governorship election in Kogi State. Mr. Ododo won the election with 446,237 votes, defeating his closest rival, Murtala Ajaka of the Social Democratic Party, who scored 259,052. While Dino Melaye of the People's Democratic Party polled 46,362 votes. Now, many are waiting to see what developments he will bring to the state. Joining me to discuss more on this is a public affairs analyst, Sheson Kwade. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Ibrahim, and good morning to our viewers.
Right. We also have Adewale Adeoye, who is the Executive Director, Journalist for Democratic Rights. It's good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Let me quickly start off by asking your general impression of the just concluded off-cycle election in Kogi State. What do you make of it, very quickly?
Well, I think the results to many people, it wasn't surprising, because if you look at the fact that the winner of that election and the second runner-up, Ajaka was the deputy publicity secretary of APC. It was after the primaries that he left the APC. So, and the new party the platform that he used, the SDP, is a party without much national character. And what we saw was that the winner and then the runner-up, they were actually from the same political tradition. So, and also we also find out that the PDP is diminishing as a national or local opposition, because Dino Melaye came a distant third for 6,000. So, and that's also not surprising, because when you look at the PDP itself, there is no rallying figure, either locally or nationally. Is it President Obasanjo that we want to talk about, who tore his PDP card and also campaigned for President Buhari in 2015? Is it President Jonathan you want to talk about, who nearly contested in APC primary? Is it Atiku we want to talk about, who facilitated between PDP, ACN, and all that? So the party is losing its steam as an opposition figure, and that's why the result, in Kogi was not surprising. And I'm not even sure I saw Atiku campaigning in Kogi for, for Melaye. And it also shows that LP, Labour Party, is a momentary organization. After the euphoria associated with Obi, it shows that the party is not actually a sustainable platform that can be used at the local level. You can see the result of the Labour Party candidate. It shows that the party is built around an individual. And what we would have expected that, based on the victory of February 25, that LP will have been able to galvanize itself into a national forum. That has not happened in Kogi, and it shows that the party may actually not be able to make much impact in future elections.
Sheson, some of the oppositions, they alleged irregularities during the election, and they felt maybe INEC has not learned from the mistakes of the past. But do you see it differently?
Well, not surprising. I'm sure if you listen to the opposition too in Bayelsa State, where, in Kogi and Imo, APC won, but in Bayelsa, PDP won. I'm sure you can hear that APC is already contesting the result. It's the norm when election like that is being conducted. So I was not expecting anything different. But people should, I think we should start having orientation about how you absorb losses in terms like this. I listened to majority of the candidates across the 3 states during the election, giving credibility to the security agency that at least they were up to task, at least rating them beyond 80% in this particular election. And some of us, alluded to the fact that possibly because it's not a general election, maybe, it's an off-session election specific for 3 states. So we heard about the number of security apparatus mobilized to the place. And we saw instances where people actually commended INEC in the area of using the IREV to ascertain the validity, the beavers, to ascertain the validity of every candidate. That worked well, and there were no issues. People even uploaded on IREV in some areas, except for areas where we heard in Kogi of pre-registering or filling of the info. But on the general view, you can see the apathy, the number of people, commensurate to the number of accredited voters against the number of people that have PVC in that state was far below expectation across the 3 states. And it's to tell you that people are really apprehended on the fact that we don't want to lose our life for what is not. But those that had the mind came out, voted. And that's how I would say individuals, like I was listening to one of the candidates in Kogi, saying he himself did not even come out to vote. So if you, a candidate, is not voting for yourselves and you don't believe in the system, so who are the people that you expect to come out and mobilize? So that means on your own, you've accepted defeat even before the commencement of the election. So for me, election is like this. Most of the time, we can criticize the system if we lose. We can criticize the umpire if we lose. I'm expecting what in Kogi, in Imo, people are criticizing INEC because they feel that the party at the center are the one controlling it. What will become of them? In Bayelsa, where the opposition won, is to tell you that we keep saying it. The power of incumbency is not easy to challenge. You must prepare yourself if you must actually win the heart of the people.
All right, Adewale, the party, talking about the All Progressives Congress, won with 446,237 votes, and also defeat its closest rival, 259,052 votes. Is that a verdict on the performance of the APC in Kogi State? Do you feel that the people feel that the incumbent governor, Yahaya Bello, done so well, so much so that they decided to, return the party for the next dispensation? Well,
in the first place, I think the difference between Ododo and Ajaka is 187,185. And that is significant. I would like to look at it, dialectically. First, there are so many factors responsible. It may not necessarily mean that the APC has performed overwhelmingly, but it may also mean that the people don't see the people contesting as a better alternative. So APC may not have addressed their fears and met their aspirations, but they also look at, Melaye, they look at the other party and say, look, well, this party may not be the best for us, but I think in the circumstances, in the context of this election, this party will be better in terms of meeting what we expect. And also when you look at the dynamics of having the party at the national level, it's a bonus for Kogi State, because when you have a party, that is controlled at the national level, there are also many advantages that Kogi people can benefit in terms of the leverage between the two political parties that are. Then I also think one other significant thing that we should notice about Kogi election is that the APC won Kogi Central and Kogi West. In the past, the Gala people are actually about 50-70%. They always dominate in terms of voting, another. But this time, power has shifted into Kogi Central. So it shows that, the dominance may not actually be permanent. That in terms of changing in the paradigm shift, this election has created a paradigm shift different from what we have seen over the years. And don't also forget that he picked his deputy from Kogi East. So it shows that the candidate from that Kogi East is also a formidable candidate. And that's why I think he was able to contest, because his figures in Kogi East was quite competitive. So, and we should also not forget the fact that the former governor, the current governor, Bello, he has a magic grip on the party structure. He's a young man, he's a vibrant man. He has, a lot of, a kind of dominant control over the party. And I think that has shown clearly, in this state, that he is also a godfather in a sense, because he was the one that anointed, Ododo, who is the former accountant general of the state. And if you look at the figures, 187,185 is formidable. And it also shows that the Melaye group and other PDP group, they are not a force to be reckoned with in Kogi State as we speak.
Well, but the opposition will believe that, according to what he said he has a dominant effect, dominant grip of the party in the state. But the opposition said, especially Dino Melaye and some others, they said that, look, Yahaya Bello has just won himself a third term.
That will always be the expectation from opposition, and you can't take that from incumbent. But we saw in the last gubernatorial election across the state where the incumbent lost their grip. Right. It's a function of your preparedness towards the election. He who fails to plan will definitely plan towards failure. That's what we've seen here. You see, you cannot come out and feel that your personal your personality will win election for you. It's beyond that. There are other factors that we must bring into consideration. Just to allude to what Mr. Olawale said, you see, the deputy of Ododo is from the east. How much are you able to galvanize from there? Don't forget, the current officers of the current administration in Kogi State, they have their network spread out there. The SAs, the commissioners, the accountant general, while he was there, we learned that he's actually a good guy. To the civil servant, you know, he actually, you know, creates that room in which the governor will make sure that the civil servant, you know, smiles in terms of the things he needs to do. So if he's there and he's working in sync with the governor, you should expect that he will have that favorism from the civil servant. You know, a state like Kogi is a civil servant state, where majority of the people that will vote are more from that area. So it's just a way. We've not had instances of the civil servant, you know, challenging the government in one way or the other. It's majority the private people who have not been having their way, you know, to fulfill some of the things that is expected. So where you have the concentration of the civil servant, and that's what played out in Imo, you know, backing up the current administration, you should expect this kind of a thing. But part of the things you should let people know is it's not enough to come on, you know, social media, make the noise. You must do the grassroots. Don't forget that in the same Kogi, the woman that won the senatorial seat came up with facts. You know, she did her homework, did this thing. She's from the opposition party. Despite the fact that the initial election gave it to APC, she contested it with fact, not sentiment. We heard less of her noise on social media, but she had a fact cut across the election, and she took it to the court, and she won. And today she's already in the Senate, you know, as a senator representing his constituency. So it's beyond the fact to come make noise on social media. Election is not about social media sensitization or emotional wooing people to yourself. You must penetrate the grassroots. An old woman out there wants to see things physical that she can actually feel and touch. And it's the people that are closer to the grassroots that get some of those things, not people. How many people do we have on the social media that are actually changing it? Like you said, I was expecting that with the last result that we have from Labour Party, you will start seeing a lot of shaking in all the states to really galvanize that they are there. But what do you, I didn't even hear the result of Labour, whether it's 5th or 6th.
That's right.
So it's beyond social media campaign. It's about grassroots mobilization. And it is the people that the grassroots, they have connection with, that they will definitely vote for election day.
Yeah, so picking it up from where you, you know, the point that you made, talk about godfatherism, they just felt, this is some sort of godfatherism. We saw what played out in Imo State. We saw what also played out in Edo State in terms of, okay, this is the person that I've anointed. At that time when Ododo was chosen as a favored candidate for the primary, it was as if he might not be able to pick the ticket. But then Ododo praises, or he praised Yahya Bello. He said, my mentor, my leader, my benefactor, and my father. We saw Edo, we saw Rivers. Should we tell him?
The fact of the matter is that in life, everyone has one mentor or the other, even in journalism. You know, I always say people like Dakpolo Riomi, yeah, you know, he's one of my mentors. So people who groom you up, people who assist you at one point or the other. But sometimes it could also be used in a blackmail sense. That, oh, he has a godfather. But there's really nothing wrong in having somebody who will mentor you, who will show you the pathway, who will teach you the rudiments of politics. I don't think there's really anything bad there. What is important is that the deeds, you know, the actions of the governor should take the interests of the people of that state, you know, primary. And if it does not do that, the people will know in the, you know, in the fullness of time. So I don't think it's a crime if you have somebody who is your godfather. There's nobody without, even in primary schools, secondary schools, in boarding house, in those days, we used to have role models, godfathers, in schools,
School fathers.
Yes, school fathers and all that. So there's really not, it's not really a wrong thing. What is important is whether what they stand for is for the benefit of the people or not. I mean, Awolowo was godfather to so many politicians, and I think to his credit, he was able to go to many of them to ensure that, I mean, the current president is a godfather to so many politicians who have also proved that they are capable to respond to the needs of their people. So it's not really a bad thing. What is important is that the influence should be positive. And that's, I think, what we should be looking up to in Kogi State.
Well, Adewale does not have any issues with godfatherism as long as it's
if it is positive.
As long as it's benefit for the entire people. But then we've got the Igala, the Okun, the Ebira, name it. And it was as if, just like what played out during the the presidential election, we saw Nigerians going, the tribal way. Majority of Nigerians going the tribal way. Do you feel that Ododo has the capacity to rally the opposition together and also the people who are decided, no, it is our turn. It is the turn of certain region within the state. Do you feel you'll be able to galvanize them for the entire? For the benefit of the entire state?
Yeah, it should. Why do I say this? You see, this is the first term for him, and most of the activities of these governors and the politicians is to make sure that their first 4 years is to penetrate the people and give dividend of democracy. When he's coming the second time, he might call their bluff and tell you this is my final lap. But for now, there's a serious task ahead of him in making sure that the people of Kogi State come together and see how they can enjoy the benefit of democracy. I will always say that Kogi, in recent time to me, has not explored the opportunity of their closeness to the seat of corridor of power, in the sense that look at the distance of Kogi and the activities of mining that we know them for. They've not actually maximized their opportunity. They should be one of the states that we should reckon with as high flyer in the state. Don't forget that we have so many industries in that state that are actually tapping into the natural resources of the country. But how much of it are beneficiary to the citizen? And that's where accountability comes up, where we pick up on some of those people. But I want to say that Ododo has his work cut out for him. The next 4 years, you are actually going to prove to the people if they will need you the second term. And aside that, you are writing your name. You see, from day one that he will be inaugurated, there's something. Yaya Bello is actually planning his exit. People will have one or two things to say about his governance, whether right, wrong, whether good, bad. And in the next 20 years to come, people will make reference to it. What are your plans that you have beforehand? Not for what we are saying. Majority of the thing we see is that people come up and you over worship the Godfather, like he said, because he has actually anointed. But there is no 100% need for that. I think the people actually elected you. If your Godfather is so good, and people decide to go other way around, not follow the route of your Godfather, what would have become of you? So people should be intentional. For Ododo, I feel it's high time he comes in. Being a former accountant general, he understands the figure. And here is to make use of the resources for the development of the state. Look for ways. You always see the opposition party telling you that, no, we are not out to work for them. But they should not go to bed and sleep. This is the right time, most especially for the man that pulled out to go to SDP, to put a formidable team to check the activities of the governor-elect, not just coming on social media to give. Criticize. Criticism is good, but you must be objective, not sensational about it. And with that, we see the state growing up.
Before we call for this break, the emergence of Ododo, while he was talking, he said that he will be able to, he promised the state that he will continue to build the state, sustain the legacy of and continuity of the work done by Governor Yaya Bello. Yaya Bello came in, he was like a poster person for the youth when he became the governor. And no doubt this, his successor is also someone we can say, well, he's a very young man, and the youth might want to embrace him as well. But do you feel that Yaya Bello has done enough that, or based on what the opposition said, that there are so many things that had been left undone by the incumbent administration. What are the issues there for you that you feel that it needs to really get on quickly to resolving?
Well, one of the major things that the new government needs to do is to reunite the people. Especially, it must give hope to the people from Okun West. Because since 1999, in fact, since 1992, when we had the SDP and NRC, Okun West had never at any time produced the governor of Kogi State. And I think that's quite unfortunate. Since 1999, we have 23 years now. Kogi West has consistently been marginalized. So it needs to reach out to them. There must be something for them. And then some guarantee that, look, to give them a sense of inclusion in Kogi State. So I think that's a major issue, because how can the whole Yoruba nation just becomes a minority because of state creation in Kogi State? And this is a state that has produced former governor of Western Region, Kemi Bewon, from the Okun Central. And they have one of the best human resources, professors, doctors, and all that. So I don't think they're having their fair share of the political bargain. The other all important thing is security. Is the gateway to Abuja. And there are all sort of insecurity in Kogi State. People being kidnapped, people being, a lot of things are going on in that axis. And I think that should be a priority, for the new government. And also industrialization. Ajakuta is there, which is supposed to be the hallmark of the industrial takeoff of Nigeria. I think something has to be done, by this new government in collaboration with the federal government, so that they can bring Ajakuta back, on stream as the pillar of Nigerian industrial takeoff. It's a responsibility that I hope...
So you will have to relate with the Minister of Mines and Steel.
Yeah, Mines and Steel, yes,
very well.
mining and all that,
Yeah. And of course, they're of the same political party, so they should be able to harness these resources.
Yeah. And I also think the current governor being an accountant, the chartered accountant, is a huge advantage if it can be used positively. It shows that it's not somebody that is not barren. He has a good idea, in terms of his qualification about how to address the economic and also tourism. Lokoja was actually the first capital of Nigeria before it was moved to Calabar. And people, Lokoja has gone into the dustbin of history. It's supposed to be an historical relic, an historical reference point when you are talking about the history of Nigeria. And also we have the confluence of River Niger, which we have always been taught in our primary school days. So I think tourism is a major aspect that the new government needs to revive. And we are looking up to that happen. And also in terms of reuniting, working with the opposition. For the fact that you have won, the other person that came second also had his own support. And so we must be able to look for a way to work with those that have lost that election.
That's right.